Whether you've just got a small savings account, a 401k, or you're a big-time investor, the financial aspect of the coronavirus panic can be nerve-wracking. Joining me now, friend of the show, Dr. Jeffrey Gardere, a clinical psychologist, to weigh in on how people should handle the financial stress as we're going through this. Doc, welcome back.
Thank you for having me, Bill.
So let's talk about it, Doc. Forget about the numbers for a minute. The market is what it is, way down, then way up. It's going to go back and forth. It's a volatile time. What do you tell people? Let's just take that young couple that comes in and says, Doc, how do we deal with the fear and the panic we're having right now? Because who do you believe? You got some docs saying, don't worry, calm down. Politicians saying, state of emergency.
One thing we do know, whether it's about staying calm or not, we know panicking never wins the day. So in working with that young couple, I would tell them, let's sit down, let's write down the things that are a real challenge, not so much a fear, but a real challenge. And together, how can we begin to work out how we're going to handle this emergency that may be coming up?
Let's talk about from the perspective of the public service messaging that's coming down from the elected politicians. The cynic in me says, look, they're always looking for a headline. They're looking for a good soundbite. A couple years from now, they want to look back and say, see, I did something. But what would you say in terms of allowing for the real medical experts who are basically telling everybody, calm down, this is not a pandemic. What would you say to those elected officials as a way of advising them how to keep their cool under pressure?
Well, they have to learn from the past. The past is the best indicator of what the present and what the future will be. And we know that what we need in our elected officials is for them to be real leaders, not just political leaders, but moral leaders, to be emotional leaders in a way that they can, in fact, help people navigate through this very difficult time that we're all experiencing.
You and I talked a little bit off camera. It really struck me something you just said that I want to bring up with the audience, that you've got financial investors that are going to make out like bandits potentially on a day like today where the market's up after it was down, the stocks are cheap, they're buying. On the other side, people who have the resources can get into real estate, take advantage of interest rates that could be less than 3%. What about the people that don't have a lot, living paycheck to paycheck today? What's your advice to them as far as staying calm and looking ahead?
Well, certainly one of the things that has not happened in our capitalist society is looking out for the little person. So for the people who can actually go out and buy the real estate, or people who can take advantage of what's going on with treasuries and so on, I would say to them, look out for your brothers and sisters. Be able to work with them around the financial issues they're having, because if we don't look out for them, that comes back and can become a real issue for society.
I'm glad you said that, Doc. I will agree to disagree on whether capitalism has done it. I think capitalism has lifted many, many people out of poverty. Our poorest are doing better than most of the world's richest. That said, you raise a good point. The politicians and some of the moguls out there, the big industrialists who are shutting down public events, sporting events, music festivals. It's not the rich guys getting the big paychecks that get hurt. It's the guy working for $10 an hour who cleans the restrooms and sells the popcorn. How does that guy make out when the elite are fostering a panic?
Well, I don't think there are any clear answers right now. I know that President Trump is looking at a stimulus package, and hopefully that will be a situation of where people who lay off folks who don't have paid leave are able to give them paid leave, are able to chip in a little bit extra to help them in order to support their families. But more than anything else, I think it's about going to our community and being able to say, how together can we get through this? Because it is going to be about those of us who are living side by side, and not so much the investors or the rich folks that are going to get us through this. This is where we have to come together as communities and look out for one another.
I agree with that. Doc, thank you so much for staying the course and staying cool, calm, and collected through all the panic and misinformation that's out there. Appreciate you.
All right.
Thanks, Doc.